So my first question is regarding in the movie there is Maui has this fish hook, right, that he used that can transform into all sorts of animals. So if you have that hook, what animal would you like to be and why?
It would depend on my mood whether it's a dog or a lion. A dog because I love dogs. A lion because the world is different from the point of view of the king of the jungle.
Okay. And was there any difficulty that you encountered in the production of the whole movie as a producer and the challenges you face?
This was a very, very complicated movie, and over the course of the 4.5 years that I worked on the movie, there were many obstacles. More, I would call them challenges. When you place a computer animated movie on the water, with 80% of it being water, and that's notoriously difficult to do in CG, we had some serious challenges doing that. But we have some incredible technologists at Disney and incredible artists, people who cross over between both worlds. And so they found solutions. They found solutions for us having to be on water for so long, and ways to, in fact, create, for certain things like the wake of a boat, for example, they fed the algorithms with the physics, and based on what we have on the boat and the weight, it will create a wake. So some things we were able to automate. Others we had to do by hand, bit by bit. So there were things like the water that were a huge challenge, the hair, the beautiful hair in the movie. That's another big challenge in computer animation. It gets wet, they put it up, they interact with it all the time. So we had some nice big things to chew on, which our group loves. And now that we've solved them for this movie, I'm sure the next movie won't have any water at all because they'll have new challenges.
The water is really beautiful.
Thank you.
I mean, that's one of the things that I noticed from the movie. So you mentioned that there was some technical aspect there. So a little bit of details about what they did.
Yeah, well, what we had was a group of our folks sat down, and people with those really, really, really smart brains that have to translate it all to English for me, sat down and figured out how to a program that would help us animate effects animation on the water in the far distance, the water in the middle distance, and the water right close to you. That was different than the water that's on the shore, which again was different from the water when it becomes a character. So when it's a character, we wanted character animation on it. In our pipeline, character animation happens here, effects way down the line. They had to work together because the character had to emote, and yet it's made up of an effect. On the water along, they were able to figure out all three, but we had a bigger challenge in making it seamless and finding a way to make it all one. And so that took some of those big brains again to figure that out. So it was one of our biggest effects challenges, and the challenge later of rendering all of that. Our movie was very, very high amount of digital information, and rendering became a challenge. But again, the team worked it out. They went in and did optimization in order to make it all doable, and we were able to, and then parsed it out so that the cues made sense in the way that we rendered. So it was quite complex, but everybody rose to the challenge, and I think the water looks amazing.
Okay. My other question is, this movie is unique in the sense that it's kind of like a Disney princess movie, but she doesn't have a love interest. And how is that, when you market it and so on, how is that different, and the decision to keep the character that way?
Well, she's 16 years old, and that helps. But her mission is... She's young, and our young actress, Ellie, is turning 16 the day before the movie opens in the United States, which is very exciting. To us, she's a hero who's setting out to save the world, who's got time for love interest. It was very important for us that she be a character whose journey, both inner, to come in contact with her identity, and outer, to go across thousands of miles of ocean to save her world, was at the heart of the story, and that she needs to do that for herself, because honestly nobody can figure out for you who you are inside. You have to do it for yourself. So it was important to us that she's not a character who's waiting to be saved, but somebody who gets their answers from within. And so that's what we created, our Moana.
Mm-hmm. Can you share one memorable experience you have working on the movie set for this?
Wow, just one, huh? Okay. I'd have to say there was a moment, I'd say, when we were on our research trip, in the very earliest research trip in the Pacific Islands, and it was when the story at the time was not about the navigations and the ancient voyagers. It was about the Pacific Islands, but we didn't know enough about that. When we started to learn about that, and our excitement, our enthusiasm, and we were sitting with some elders in a village in Moana in French Polynesia, and you know, it's beautiful, and that breeze and that beautiful Tahitian beach, and the ocean is right there. And one of the elders turned to us. His name was Papa Mape, and he turned to us and he said, you know, he said in Tahitian, it was translated for us. He said, you know, for many, many years, we've been swallowed by your culture. For once, can you be swallowed by ours? And for us, this became like a point north on the movie. How do we keep the inspiration of the islands in our fictional story and keep it alive? And that became something that we held very dear throughout the movie. So it was one of those magical moments, you know.